All right, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to use Google Sheets in order to be able to graph your data and be able to pull some interesting stuff out of your data. So the first thing we have here is we've got all the data that you took in the Colligative Properties Lab, and that is reported here. One thing I'm going to point out to you, you should pause this video and make sure you get my sucrose data. We kind of realized yesterday that for some reason that one was getting rounded weird, so I redid this data on a faster computer, a better computer, and we got some better data on that. So you want to make sure that column right there looks the same, but the rest of the columns you can have whatever you need, whatever you collected yesterday, I should say. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to use this data, we're going to translate it to something else that is more useful for us when we graph it. And what we're going to change it to is delta t. This in that third sheet from yesterday tells you delta, it's represented as a triangle. Delta is a Greek letter, and in science, delta means change in or difference. So we're looking for a difference in temperature, and we're going to do this for each of these things. So we're first going to do this with our sucrose column. We're going to find the difference in the boiling points here. To do that, what you do is you type in equals, and that lets you put in an equation, and that equation can refer to another column. So we're going to select the first cell in the sucrose column, right? And we are going to subtract 100 from that because the boiling point of water is supposed to be 100, but when you add the sucrose, you get a change in that boiling point. We're going to hit enter. Of course, it tells me 0. Now, I could plug that in for every single line, or you can do something a little more helpful here. Something that is that Google Sheets has here is this little square in the lower right-hand corner of the cell that you have selected. That is a copy square. You can click on that and drag it all the way down. And it will just copy that equation all the way down to all those cells. So it calculated delta T for the sucrose there, just like that. Technology is a beautiful thing. We are also going to do delta T for NaCl, for our sodium chloride. Sodium chloride's NaCl. Instead of copying it over, or instead of like typing it out, I can copy that cell over and it'll do the same thing. And you'll see one of the neat things it does, if I click up here in my formula, is it shows you when I moved it over to this cell, it moved over the target. So now it's looking at the sodium chloride column. Don't change that formula in any way. We're just going to copy it over and then copy it down. And then we move over a little bit further. Oops. And we go to delta T for CaCl, for calcium chloride. CaCl 2, maybe? Calcium chloride is, of course, the correct name. So calcium chloride, we look at the calcium chloride. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to copy it over, and then we're going to copy it down. So this one started off with 100.01, so that first line is 0.01. Now we need to copy over, I left this column empty. If you didn't, by the way, and you need to move all these guys over, all you got to do is click and select them, and you can move them anywhere you want. As soon as that hand icon appears, you can click there. You can move them wherever you want. It's kind of nice. But anyways, I want to use the amount of solute, so we're going to take that. I'm going to, let me show you that in slow motion there. I'm going to collect that. I'm going to go to Edit and Copy. I actually just typed Control-C. And then we're going to come over here, select the top of this column right here, go to Edit and Paste. And now we have amount of solute in there. So now we have something we can graph. And that's what we're going to do. Google Sheets doesn't call this a graph anymore. They call it a chart, which is cool. Technically, we don't need a chart. We need a graph, but they're the same thing. So if you select all of your data, which you can do by clicking on one corner and then holding down Shift and clicking the other corner, or you can click and drag and select the whole thing, whichever way you want to do it. Make sure you've got all 4 of these columns selected. You're going to go to Insert Chart. Now, my Google Sheets, is possibly different than yours. Yours might be smarter. Mine's kind of dumb. It went to a column chart. That's not the kind of chart I want at all. Over here in Setup, it says Column Chart. We're going to click on that, and we're going to scroll down and pick the kind of chart we actually want, which is a scatter plot. So click on Scatter, all right? And it still doesn't look right. It still doesn't look how I want it. So what you do is you go down here to the bottom. It says Switch Rows and Columns. If you click on that, it'll now go back and show me a scatter plot. This is what I want mine to look like. Kind of looks like we got a y-axis and an x-axis. The x-axis, there we go, and a bunch of points out here. It's not labeling this right up here. This is supposed to be the key up the top. To get it to show the labels, you got to click this button right here, Use Row 1 as headers. And now we know it's graphing the delta T for sucrose in blue, delta T for Uracil in red, delta T for calcium chloride in this yellowish green color, depending on how good your monitor is. I am also going to add something else to this because it's what I really need. What I really need out of this is I'm going to go Customize, all right? And in Customize, you can go down to Series, and we're going to apply to all series because we want to do this for all three. There's something here about point size, the circles, the x-axis, don't care about any of that stuff. What I care about is down here at the bottom, I want to add a trend line. So this is going to give me a trend line that's going to fit my data to a mathematical equation. And the equation it's using right now is linear, and that's a good one, right? These are all straight lines. Pretty obvious this should be a linear fit. If yours does not say linear, make sure you click on that and turn it to linear, okay? We don't care about the line color, opacity, thickness, right? If you change any of these, it just changes how that line looks. I like to leave those just at the standard that they've given. But the label I do care about. I want to see the equation for each of these. And that's the important data for me. R squared is kind of neat. If you ever are doing this for real, you might need to include R squared. R squared, just to show you what it does. I'm going to have to drag it over. R squared, the closer R squared is to 1, the closer the fit is, the better, the more likely that equation used is actually the correct one. But I already know these are a straight line, so I don't really need to show my R squared. These equations are what we're going to need, okay? So now the chart looks good. Some people, and I'm going to go ahead and say this, we can do this. The horizontal axis, we need to have a label on there, and it may or may not work to have the labels as text. Nope. Okay. Nope. Okay. They changed where number format slant labels. Well, they changed where the. Oh, here we are. They put them up here. I'm sorry. When you're in Customize, if you go to Chart and Axis Titles, you can give your chart a title. Okay. So I can call this colligative properties data, and I'm going to put Milojevic because that's my name. You should put your name and yours, right? Up top, we're now going to change, that's the chart title, and you see it puts it up there nicely on the top. If you want to put your whole name in, you can. Horizontal axis, well, the horizontal axis is amount of solute, and that is in grams. And then the vertical axis title is delta T, or change in temperature, if you will, and that's in Celsius. It wasn't really specified yesterday, but that is in Celsius. And so now we'll have a nice, perfect chart. If you need to go back and review any of that, that's cool. I'm going to make it just a little bit taller. You can leave it the same shape. That's fine. There's a reason I'm making it taller, and you'll see that in the next video. What we're going to do is go up here to the 3 dots in the upper right-hand corner, and we are now ready to download this chart. So we will download it as a PNG image, and as soon as you click that, it will go and it will download. You can barely see it under my profile picture there. It's downloaded it, and it gave it the name that we gave it before. So in my next video, I'm going to show you how we're going to use this data to draw a nice conclusion. All right.